it does not sound anything mental health related. And I said, fantastic. That's the whole point.
Yeah. She was big on LinkedIn. She was at these events. She was doing all this stuff. And I was like, she's who I want to be. Like, I was like, oh my God, she's amazing. It's also like a Ghanaian instrument, which was like so crazy to me. After I researched it more. In October, I experienced really bad burnout, literally like crying pretty much every single day, to the point where I was like, I need therapy.
I have gone to a lot of places and it said shelf.
I just realized like how much pressure I was putting on myself to be this perfect representation of the impact I was trying to create.
According to the Minds UK, 1 in 4 people in the UK experience mental health problem each year. Yet, Black and minorized ethnic groups remain significantly less likely to access therapy or mental health services. Also, according to a research conducted by Mental Health Foundation in 2022, it states that Black adults are 4 times more likely to be detained under Mental Health Act than their white counterparts. This is a stark reminder that inequality shapes outcomes. Today, my guest on the Shelf Conversation podcast is Louise Lyons-Appiah. I hope I mentioned your name right.
You did, that was perfect.
She's a speaker, advocate, and a co-founder of Synkora Consulting. This is a UK's first Gen Z-led EDI consultancy. Louise is known for sparking brave conversations about race, mental health, and belonging from classrooms to the boardrooms. Together, we are diving into what it really means to belong, how burnout is shaping this generation, and why both conversations can lead to a real care and change. Without much ado, let's welcome my guest today, Louise Lyons-Appiah.
Thank you for having me, Kwame.
Thank you very much for honoring the invitation. I've seen the amazing work that you are doing on LinkedIn, and I was like, how would I be able to contribute? Because I've seen all the amazing stuff you're doing. You're not afraid to talk about your mental health on social media. You're not afraid to let your audience know about how you are, what you experienced and how you are going through life. And it really sparks that kind of bravery in you, and LinkedIn has helped you to maximize that kind of effect. So thank you very much for honoring this invitation, because all the time, whenever I see people doing something different, I want to find out why and how they are doing it. Are they doing it because they feel comfortable doing it, or are they doing it because there's something that they want to see that they don't? Because I actually have got this norm and ideology that what I really want to see in my world, if I can't see it happening, I should be the first person to show that example. And that's basically what you've been doing. So once again, thank you very much for coming to the Shelf Conversation podcast. How are you doing today?
Today, I'm doing good.
Yeah?
Woke up, went to the gym, which was good.
Yes.
And then did a bit of work, helped my partner film something for one of his clients. And I came here, so happy days. I was excited about today.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love to yap. So yeah.
Thank you very much once again for honoring this invitation. And as time goes on, we will actually delve into some of the works and some of the roundtables that both of us has actually sat around to spark conversations about mental health. So you've been described as bold and honest voice for a new generation of change makers. When you reflect on your journey, what moment first awakened your passion for advocacy and equity?
When I look back at my journey, I definitely think the death of George Floyd was what really sparked something inside of me to say, oh my gosh, like, I want to do something about this. I want to be a part of this conversation. I don't want to just like it to roll over and me to just be passive in this. And so, yeah, when George Floyd died, the world sort of awoke to all the racial injustice that was going on, particularly in America. But when I was watching all of this unfold, I was just thinking, this is so America-centric. Like, Black Americans and Black British people and Black Africans, whoever we're speaking about, Black Caribbeans, they experience racism in completely different ways. They experience race relations in completely different ways. So I wanted to start having conversations, particularly about the Black British experience. But what happened with the death of George Floyd is that they also uncovered trauma from my past, in terms of like me remembering like incidents that had happened when I was younger that were like pretty horrific forms of racism that I kind of just like put to the back of my mind, and all of these experiences resurfaced, but again because the conversation was just so like loud and it was locked down and it was just all anyone was talking about. And I just started to speak. I started talking to my brother, and we just decided to do a little 4-part mini-series just randomly on YouTube, having never done anything like that before, to talk about all the different like facets of this conversation, whether it was like police brutality and what that looked like in the UK versus the US. Like I had a particular interest in Pan-Africanism and colonialism because I was studying history and politics at university, and it was really like interesting to me, and getting different perspectives from our other siblings to like our dad and our grandparents and all those different perspectives. So yeah.
So I believe your background also have that kind of evokes what you actually do a lot, isn't it? You're from Ghana, and
I am.
Ghana. Is it only Ghana or?
Well, I'm 3/4 Ghanaian and 1/4 English.
Oh,
so yeah, but the English doesn't really get like when I'm growing up, I always just said I'm from Ghana because like I never felt connected to England in a way of like ethnically, because it's just my granddad who's like fully white, and then no other person like really in my family is, and like yeah, so and I never got coded as mixed. When I was like, people just assume that I was like either Caribbean or African, and they just assumed that there was never like no one ever said that. I just didn't grow up, and in my head also like my mum was mixed. That was what mixed was. And that I wasn't.
Have you ever visited Ghana?
Yes, I lived there.
Oh, is it?
For 2 years, yeah.
What?
Accra. Yeah.
Part of Accra?
Airport Hills. Yeah.
That's affluent area. For those who don't know. Wow, fantastic. So you actually grew up in 2 different cultures.
Yeah.
When did you leave Ghana? Were you very young?
I was very young. I was there from 6 to 8.
Do you remember any fond memories from Ghana?
Yeah. I think my favorite memories like just being on the back of like trucks, just like in the open.
Yes.
And you're like you're just driving down these like planned roads, go to the beach like, on the weekend because you can. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Just experiences that you don't have here. Constantly being surrounded by like family.
Yes.
And because like when we moved in with my cousins. So we were all like in this house on this like in this space. The heat.
Yeah.
I am a cold-blooded girl. At 20 degrees, I'm freezing. Like, seriously. The fact that I'm not wearing a coat right now, pretty wild. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, mirroring your experience between Ghana and Britain, does that also evoke some sense of a lot of work to be done? Because in Ghana, we don't know anything about race. Yeah. Everybody's living their life. Although there are some minor issues like tribalism and over there, but it's not as heightened as we see over here in the Western world. Yeah, but as you made mention of George Floyd, to me, it was, do you remember Trayvon Martin?
Yes.
It was Trayvon Martin that really awakened that sense of fighting for justice every summer, because I saw the trend that every single summer, a young black man or boy in America gets killed unlawfully, and it sparks a range of global conversations about race, about killings, unlawful killings, about gun law and everything. The next moment, it dies away, and we've gone all the way down to George Floyd, which I believe it was 10 years difference, because Trayvon actually was killed, I think, I stand to be corrected, around 2013.
Yeah, it was 2013.
Yeah. So, speaking about that, does that really make you feel like there are two different worlds that you were raised in?
Yeah, I think, sure. I mean, again, like the race situation isn't really spoken about because pretty much everyone is Black.
Ghana, yeah.
Yeah. But I think obviously growing up, like culturally, like living in those two different cultures and like what was expected of me, like living in Ghana, and all the different traditions you saw, and all the way like you treated each other, and versus like in the UK, there was just like so many different cultural differences. And I think, I mean, it really, like I really knew that as a young person, because when I moved back, and came back to primary school, like the things that people would say to me are like, did you like live in a hut?
Yes.
Did you live with animals? Like all of this stuff. And I'm like, what do you mean? I live in the house. Yeah. All like, and that's what I knew of the situation. But like, obviously all the stereotypes, the assumptions that people would make is that I was living a completely different life to what I was living in the UK, which was like,
were you shocked when people were asking these questions as much as you were young? Were you shocked?
I just thought they were stupid.
Yeah.
I thought they were stupid, but I was also really confused. But
you'll
be like, this doesn't. Why are they? I was
giving this perspective.
Yeah, why are they saying this? I don't understand. Why are they saying this? I don't get it.
Yeah, it's like a situation happened, and you know the sequence of events, and you know the account that you hold, and all of a sudden someone comes to twist it. You get confused, like who has come to tell all of these people all these lies? Because we don't live in huts, we don't live in all these kind of caves that they perceive, but we live in houses like over here in Britain. So for everyone or for anyone who is listening to this conversation, this is still the Shelf Conversation podcast, and I'm here with Louise, and today we are delving into different areas at which that we don't mostly speak about, but it's affecting our mental health, which is about race, about belonging, and it's all about being a Gen Z. What does that actually mean? If you really want to know more about this, why don't you continue listening to this conversation or watch this conversation to the very end so that all of us can pick one or two stuff that can help shape the way we think when it comes to race and our mental health. So moving on from there, Louise, we've made mention of your transition, living in Ghana and Britain, and how those different cultures have actually shaped you, and how George Floyd's unlawful killing has also actually sparked that kind of awakening sense within you to start with the work that you're doing, talking about race and mental health. So to you, what does belonging mean in terms of both personally and professionally, especially when you are in spaces that weren't always built for people like you?
Yeah. I think belonging just means being in a space where you can be your authentic self. We talk about inclusion, and I always say that belonging is, a step further than inclusion, because you can tell people, well, you can be in the space, but if they want to stay in that space for 5 minutes, then they probably don't really feel like they belong. They're probably not going to come back, and that's really not good enough. You want to create spaces where people can thrive, where people can feel connected to the people around them. And I really do think it's possible in any space because of the work that I do. I'm constantly facilitating conversations between people who generally disagree with each other a lot of the time. And even they can all belong to the same school community. They can belong to the same workplace. They can belong to the same, whatever type of community it is, whether it's a youth club or a sports team or whatever. And so for me, belonging is, being able to be your authentic self and not being judged for that.
Fantastic. And in terms of the professional space, both of us have had the opportunity this year of sitting around the round table, having a conversation about mental health, which both of us were invited by the Diana Awards and Concordia Summit, which was their first time over here in London. Sitting around that table, how did that make you feel? I think I felt heard, actually, because... And I think it was actually a testament to actually how much my confidence has grown. Because I really felt like I wanted to take up that space, and I felt like I feel comfortable challenging
what's going on here, especially because we were in a room full of like CEOs of
Exactly.
massive organizations and people who have like lots of influence.
Was it your first time in such a space, sitting around the round table?
I think not my first time in a space like that. I've been at, I've spoken at global conferences and things like that. But I think the first time in such an intimate
space, yeah.
Well, it's like boardroom type stuff. Do you know what I mean? It was also a time where I just launched my business and I was like, here's the perfect time to be like, here, I have solutions to the problem. Like, I finally was in a space where I was like, I actually really know what needs to be done here.
Exactly.
I think when I first started my change-making journey, like I was still learning so much. Like I was very naive to a lot of things. But now after 3 years or even 5 years, to be honest, I'm like, okay, I know what's going on here. I know how these things work.
Exactly.
I know how you even get invited to these things in the first place.
Yeah.
And things like that. So I was like, yeah, this is where I'm supposed to be at this time.
Fantastic. Because I felt the same way as you actually rightly mentioned, because when I received the email, I asked myself, I know I'm working in this room. I'm working in this room as Kwame, but what exactly am I going to tell them? What perspective am I selling to them? Definitely they know about the issues when it comes to young people, mental health, but from the perspective of a young person, or even telling the story on behalf of other young people, how can I sell it best? So that was what kept on like playing in my head, that you're not just there to just take videos, take pictures that have been in this room, but what kind of change can you make? What perspective can you sell to these people that they don't see, that these young people want to be rightly said to these people? So it was something that I'm so grateful that you were there, and I'm so grateful that we were all around the room, and I love the energy of how you were not ready to hold back. You were just ready to let them know that this, I believe, is the solution. And with me, I believe, and a lot of organizers have started with co-production, which my previous conversation, I was here with the governor of her children and adolescents mental health trust. And we delve into those kind of conversations that how can young people be able to realize or know that they have been heard. And he told me that it's simple. Get them involved in designing the solutions to the problem they are facing. They are more than willing to understand it best, because you can create a solution that you believe will help them. But by the time you realize you spend millions of pounds trying to design a solution, and you realize that it does not answer even half of the problem.
Exactly.
So I was so grateful that we were in there. And I was so happy. One person I was so happy about to be in the room was Afia. The way she jumped in and it says that it's not really about talking. The young people are here. They're doing amazing stuff. Just support them.
She's so good. And you know what? She followed up with me.
Yeah.
And now I've had like a page in the Black Business magazine from that conversation, actually.
Congratulations.
I have no idea like if it's out or anything, but I know it's like been finished. So yeah, she was, and because I was like, yeah, she really meant what she said. She stood up for us.
Yes.
And she said, I want to speak to you after. I don't want this to be the last time. And it wasn't the last time.
Yeah.
And I think more of that energy could have been there, to be honest.
Yes.
Because I also had followed up with everyone he told me to follow up with. And since then,
happy.
One follow-ups, but then nothing further than that. So,
and that is one of the draining moments most of the time, I believe, Gen Z is going through, or even millennials, or anyone who is starting something new. Because you've got the solution. There are other people who are doing something similar, but they will tell you at these organizations, oh, let's catch up, let's meet up.
Yeah.
You'll be constantly chasing, and it reach a point, I was like, what is the point? You know, because in the room, even if nothing has even happened afterwards, I'm so happy that Afia actually did that, because it's letting someone say the unsaid, because I have been in these kind of rooms all the time. Everybody will be cheesy around.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this. You're doing
Yeah.
this amazing stuff. I love your tie. I love your shoe and everything. When it's time for the action to be shown, they are missed.
Yeah.
You contact them. Sometimes you even send an email and you start asking yourself, was I giving the right email?
Did I? Yeah.
Did I actually leave a good impression? So it starts to make you feel like maybe like there's no end to this. Let me just give up. And in all honesty, I've experienced that. So I know exactly how you're feeling. And I've also done the same kind of stuff whereby I've followed up with a lot of people, a lot of them I've actually followed up. Some of them I haven't because of my schedule. But as time goes on, I'm definitely going to, because I believe that I'm still in the phase of still building my own stuff. So there's more that I can add to. So when there is any form of collaborations, then I would definitely reach out. But I'm happy that I reach out to you.
Yeah.
And we have made this conversation happen, because I remember that time that we met, when I was saying that you'll be on my podcast, I'll be honest with you, I was in a very difficult position whereby I don't have any place to shoot it. All the different places that I was supposed to shoot, the schedule was not working. And thank God we are here.
Yeah, exactly.
Before the end of the year, we've done it all by God's grace. So I am of that vision that if I can make any difference by collaborating with other people, especially Gen Zs, in the same space as I'm operating, I would definitely do what I can, because I believe that if there's a lot of zeal in a person and they don't see anything forward, it's easy for them to throw in the towel. Yeah. So I'm so happy that Effia actually definitely did that, and big ups to her. And I know that she's going to listen to it. I will definitely send this to her for her to know that we bigged her out for what she did for us when we were actually at the Concordia Summit. So you've built Synkora Consulting. What gave birth to it?
So when I was at university, I was the co-founder of Breed Uni, which was a peer support initiative. Okay. And the pillars were mental health, equality, diversity, inclusion, and personal development. And through this, we wanted to spark conversations with students, and students would actually facilitate those conversations. And we do events. And also importantly, we'd partner with organizations so that they could support what we were doing. One of those organizations was Beyond, who are a youth mental health charity. And I became a youth board member.
Fantastic.
In 2022. And I met my co-founder through Beyond, through her being a fellow youth board member. We became fast friends very quickly, like when we were both in our third year of university, about to leave.
In the same university?
No, different universities. And I had admired her for a while. Like Tanya is awesome. She had she was big on LinkedIn. Wow. She was at these events. She was doing all this stuff. And I was like, she's who I want to be. Like, I was like, oh my God, she's amazing.
Big ups, Tanya.
Big up, Tanya. She was, but she went straight into corporate consulting for a really large company. But we kept on obviously doing things with Beyond together, and we had our friendship outside of that. And she would always ask me, what's it like to just be working for yourself? Because when I left, I just started, myself freelancing, building up my brand and doing the work that I wanted to do. And I'd tell her all the ups and downs of this life, and she would tell me all the ups and downs of hers. And it got to a point where we actually did a little project together after she went part-time with her old job for Beyond. We did a little consultancy project, and then we were like, I'm pretty sure I voice noted her, and I was like, this project is kind of making me realize that maybe we should just start business together, do this full time. And then she literally voice noted me back and was like, this is so weird, because I was literally telling my dad, wow, the other day, wouldn't it be cool if I did something with Louise? Because we're really working well together. That was June 2024 that we came up with the idea, the concept, and then January 2025 is when we actually launched Synkora Consulting.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So Synkora and consulting, I understand the consulting bit. What is the core function or purpose of Synkora?
So Synkora is Gen Z led. So we're here to be a voice for our generation. And we're here to create psychologically safe spaces in communities so people can feel like they belong. And that is kind of done in one of two ways. One is to go into kind of corporate organizations and support them with their inclusion and belonging. But then secondly, kind of really tying into our Gen Z, like being Gen Z, working with charities and organizations whose beneficiaries are young people and making sure that they are including the young people in the co-design, co-production in the right way. And I say right way because organizations have been doing this for time, but there's so many issues. And we come from a lived experience lens. And I really think that is the core of Synkora. Like, we have known what it's like to feel alienated in spaces. We've known what it's like to be treated differently because of our race, because of our gender, because of our age. To not be able to advocate for ourselves and need other people to do that for us.
Exactly.
So we really wanted to create an organization where we could kind of root out the problems and support people into like collaboratively solving those problems.
Yeah. And the name Synkora, how was it coined?
So
Tell us.
a little help from ChatGPT.
Okay.
In terms of actually forming the two words, but we had synergy and we had Cora.
What does Cora mean?
Cora is one of my favorite names.
Oh, okay.
I have like a relative called Cora, and Avatar. Avatar, Legend of Korra is one of my favorite shows. And so I've always loved the name Cora. Like, it's on my baby names list. I just love it. It's also like a Ghanaian instrument, which was like so crazy to me after I researched it more. And it means heart as well.
Okay.
So, and then synergy obviously means like collaboration, togetherness. And it was like together heart, vibe. And it's just, and then and then ChatGPT, I was like throwing all these words in. Okay. And then Synkora, and I was like, this is perfect.
That's cool.
It sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Like, it really flows. And then we looked it up and like no other organizations of note.
I've never had it.
Exactly.
That's it.
Called Synkora. So we were like, here we are.
Yeah, because with me, I believe in the power of names. And when I have got a product, I want it to stand out. I want it to be unique. So the name of it all the time has to make sense to me, that anywhere, anytime, even if I get woken up, what's the name? What does that mean? I should be able to explain in depth for the person to understand. For example, the name of this podcast, The Shelf Conversation, right? When I started it, I have gone to a lot of places and it said shelf. It does not sound anything mental health related. And I said, fantastic. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Because I want the core reason of this podcast to actually relate to what I've been called my purpose, which the S stands for to speak, A stands for to heal, E stands for educate, L stands for lead, and F stands for fight. And these are the 5 purposes I do throughout my whole day. Like, literally, I will be playing one of those because to heal, I'm a pharmacist. So I would definitely play one role or another, trying to heal people. Speak, I do public speaking, transformational speaking. So it had to make sense to me so that the people who see it and they realize that it's a podcast would run to go and find out what it's about. And slowly, I think it's working because every podcaster I've met or podcasting company I've met have told me that it doesn't sound anything podcast. It sounds more like a bookshelf or something. I said, I'll try and make it work. And eventually it's starting to register in the mind of people to actually make it work. So you've spoken powerfully about your personal cause of advocacy. Now let's explore how that intersects with well-being, which especially about young change makers like yourself and navigating big systems.
Yeah.
So there is this research that I was doing when it comes to mental health in leadership and activism, where it says that half of Gen Z employees have left jobs for mental health reasons. And this is actually the highest in any generation can ever have. And it was a research that was done by Harvard Business Review in 2022. And also, City Mental Health Alliance in the UK stated that young professionals from minority backgrounds face higher rates of representation fatigue because they believe that the exhaustion of being one is really, really huge. So in terms of boiling it down to Gen Z, what patterns have you noticed in how Gen Z leaders experience mental health challenges compared to the older generation?
I think the main difference is social media. And hustle culture. And that being perpetuated on social media.
Is hustle culture really a good thing or is it very bad?
It's a bad thing. Okay.
Okay, break it down.
The idea that everyone needs to have a side hustle on top of their 9 to 5, and they also need to be on top of like their well-being and have a successful relationship and go to the gym every single day and just like do all of these things, 24 hours in the day, you've got so much time to do all of this stuff. And it's just not possible. But it is constantly pushed on us from time and time again. You're not doing enough. Look at what I'm doing. The highlight reel of my life. You should be doing this as well. Sell, sell, sell. I can show you how to do this in 5 hours instead of 12 hours. I can sell you on this product and this product. I can sell you on this course to show you how you can live my life. And I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of it. In October, I experienced really bad burnout, literally like crying pretty much every single day to the point where I was like, I need therapy. And I just realized like how much pressure I was putting on myself to be this perfect representation of what I was the impact I was trying to create. And I think when you are trying to be a leader, like you also do feel like you have to perform all the time. Like everything you do has to be shown. It's visibility, visibility, visibility. But like, what is the cost of that visibility? Like the cost of that could be your mental health. The cost of that could be you're always trying to live up to this image that you've created of yourself. And of course, sometimes you don't live up to that. I think it's really, to be honest, like good that Gen Z in particular are taking a stand and being like, well, yeah, like if I'm feeling ill because of my mental health, like I will take a sick day. I will like not do this if I don't want to. But yeah, the burnout is a massive problem. And I do think, one of the biggest culprits is social media. Synkora Consulting are going to be doing a project next year that is going to tackle this. I'm really excited. I can't say anything about it yet.
Yeah,
but,
no worries. But this is the first place that you've shared it, I believe. So we're really excited that you're actually taking the step to actually do a project about it. Because with me personally, like as much as I love social media, because social media has actually really given me certain opportunities that I'm currently experiencing, I always make sure that there is a thin line. There's a visible line, not even thin. There's a visible line between my lifestyle and my social media time, right? It's not everything that I show on social media. I've got this policy. If before I post anything on social media, I ask myself, one, what is the essence of it? Am I posting it to show off? Am I posting it to motivate someone? Am I posting it just to create a content? Or am I just posting it for posting's sake? I need to do all these analysis before I put it on there. And before I put it over there as well, I make sure that I have soaked it in. Am I really proud of it? Is it a proud moment that I need to put it out there? Or am I just putting it out there just to see what people say about the likes, the reposts, the shares? All these I take into account, because the reason why I say this is sometimes we invest the outcome of a very great moment, we invest in how people are going to react. Right? Because if you are not in the position of being happy in that kind of moment and you put it out there, and anyone says anything that is contrary to what you were expecting, it's going to affect your spirit. Like, you're going to feel...
Was this on Instagram?
It was on Instagram.
I think I saw
You
this.
saw that?
I think she might, was it as, yeah, I think I know what you're talking
That
about.
has been there for about 10 years.
Yeah, she talked about how performative it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that really spoke to me. And truthfully speaking, I've always had this mentality that the moment you enter into a space that is a space of change, without you using it to the advantage of changing other people's life, that's not the end goal.
Yeah.
The end goal is for you to enter this room, talk about your story, talk about the work you're doing, and collaborate so that it can maximize. And if you're able to reach 10 people, because of that collaboration, we should be able to reach about 100, thousands, 1 million people's life being changed. That way you believe that I went into this room, I collaborated, and this is the legacy that I've left, or this is the change I'm actually making. After reading this, I even sent a message and said, I'm happy that a lot of young people are getting to see this, that it's good to enter those rooms, but there is this kind of responsibility whereby at least try and do something. And it's not at the expense of your mental health. Let's clarify that. It's not at the expense of your own personal life, because after all this, you've got your own personal life. There's a whole weight behind you. You've got your own personal life, your relationships, your family life, your career, all of these to, juggle along. So I was so happy when I read that. So it's making me happy that Gen Zs are drawing the line that if my mental health is going to be affected or is being affected, sorry, I'm not available.
Yeah,
I've locked
exactly.
out.
Especially when the point is mental health. Like, because I do, again, so much mental health advocacy, I'd be a hypocrite to put the mental health advocacy over my own mental health.
You're so right.
And I really, really had to contend with that.
So right.
This year in particular, and just being like, Louise, like, you have to practice what you preach.
Yep.
You can't show so much love to other people, compassion to other people, and not show that to yourself. And I have not been doing that nearly as enough.
We are our first clients.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why I'm so proud of myself for getting therapy.
Fantastic.
And for doing that for me and not for other people. Because again, so much of my work is designed to support other people. In my relationships, I'm the person who brings people together. I'm the person who does the events for my families and things like that. And I was like, what? This isn't good enough. Like, this isn't okay. You need to keep things for yourself. Like, faith is a massive one where I'm like, even that, this whole Christian influencer epidemic that we've got, like, even that is being turned into, oh, how can I show people I'm doing this? And I'm like, oh my God, faith, which is meant to be a personal relationship between you and God, is now being turned into something. And I'm like, oh my God.
I think we are actually at the age that it really gets to show who really understands the whole thing about social media, who really understands privacy. Because all the time, I always say to people this, that I'm grateful to be one of those young people that when Facebook started, especially in my household, I was one of the first people to have an account. So the etiquettes about internet, I've learned it from that age that it's not everything I'm going to put out there. It's about my work. Because with me, if I didn't find my purpose of what I'm doing right now, I believe that I was going to be one of those antisocial people. I will not have a social media account because I'll ask myself, what's the point? Taking pictures, taking videos and putting it out there? I'm not one of those. I didn't like that until I found what I truly stand for and I had to shape it. So I always tell people that if you use social media to judge or to trying to take a guess of who I am, you'll get it wrong. Because social media, the stuff I put out there does not fully represent everything I'm actually experiencing or who I'm actually at. There are so many stuff I'm doing which is not even in the eyes of people that I'm doing behind the scenes.
Exactly.
I'm so happy because it gives me the time to make all the errors. It gives me the time to actually nurture and build it in a way that before eyes gets to see it, there's no pressure on me. And it is so great that a lot of people do not actually understand how it saves and it protects your mental health. Because we live in an era that people are going to create burner accounts, want to hide behind all these accounts, and will throw you, will throw you. And if you are in a very vulnerable state, automatically it will click. You'll be like, you know what? I think they're right. I'm a loser. I'm not doing much. I'm just trying to actually sell myself in that kind of way. So becoming an advocate, honestly, has helped my mental health because, as you may mention, I'm not going to pour a lot of love in people and not pour love into myself, whereby I would tell a lot of people, I'll preach to them and everything. But behind the scenes, you are suffering, but you are telling people that they need to speak out. So all the time, whenever I'm facing something and it's very, very difficult and I don't want to share, at the back of my mind, that advocacy voice tells, Kwame, you've been doing this for people. Why can't you do it for yourself? Find someone, find a therapist. And with me, I'm happy. 2024, I also found a therapist, and it was one of the best things I've ever actually done. And I will encourage anyone who is listening to this as a young person, seeking for therapy does not mean you are weak. Does not mean that you are not yourself. Seeking for therapy is basically you have found strength to find out that there's something that you need help with. And seeking for help does not mean weakness. It means strength, because it takes only a strong person to be able to know that I'm at the point that I need to refuel myself. So we would encourage you. And if you need any therapist, drop into my DM. I'll be able to recommend one for you. So moving on, we've made mention about how Gen Zs actually, as leaders, we experience a difference between us and the older generation. How do you think employers and school can do better in supporting young professionals carrying invisible emotional labor?
Let's start with school.
Yes, we can start with school.
I think if you know your students well enough, you know who's like doing the most outside of school. And so I think they need space. I think it's more like you trust them enough to be like, okay, this person is leaving this classroom because they're dealing with X, Y, and Z outside the classroom. And people shouldn't, like, young people shouldn't have to constantly like ask, can I do this? Can I do this? Can I do this? Like, you should just be able to know your students well enough. And obviously, like, I am a youthful member of Beyond charity. We're a youth mental health charity that fund interventions into schools. And I'm of the belief that every single school should have a budget for different forms of mental health interventions for their students to access for free, obviously. And I really want to hone in on that word different, because not every child is going to be okay with one-to-one counselling.
Yes.
They might need drama therapy, they might need pet therapy, they might need more general well-being. It might look like mentoring for them because therapy isn't the mode that they want to be supported in.
Exactly.
And so it's really important that is like being funded. And so that students have that space when they're in the school environment to be able to be supported with their mental health difficulties, and also feel like they can do that. Like, and I think that links to the workplace as well. Like, if you have young professionals who are, again, they have their side hustles, they have their little thing that they're doing, lift them up. Like, support them in doing that. Don't be like, well, how do you have enough time to do your 9 to 5? It's like, this person, if they have a side hustle, that means they're resourceful, that means they're intelligent, that means that they can time manage. If they can produce the work, let them do this other thing. And in fact, it will attract more people to your company as well. When you show that you have a good company culture, when you show that you allow people to be themselves, you allow people to have different interests and different passions that they can follow outside of the workplace. It's so important. And also providing, the employee assistance program so that they can access different forms of support. Again, because, parents have employees are so multifaceted, whether they're parents, whether they're young, whether they've got health conditions, whatever their come from, you know, minority sexuality, minority ethnic group, whatever it is, like they're going to be facing so many different things outside of the workplace, but also bring that into the workplace as well. So it's really important that workplaces are allowing people to be their authentic selves and supporting that.
Fantastic. If you are listening to this podcast or you are watching it on our various social media platforms or our streaming platforms, this is still the Shelf Conversation podcast. And today my guest is Louise, and we are delving into a conversation about burnout, mental health, youth leadership, Gen Z, and their mental health. So if you have tuned into this, know that you are actually the right place. And why don't you share it and subscribe to this channel, because more of these conversations are going to be found over here. And some of them have already been had. So why don't you take your time and catch up on those? So Louise, before we actually moving on to the next part of the conversation, we were actually talking about how schools and employers be able to help Gen Zs in terms of emotional labor. And I know advocacy is one of the major parts of the stuff that you do apart from your consulting. And it can be very emotionally demanding, especially when it's deeply personal.
Yeah.
How are you able to protect your own mental health?
One, like I said, getting therapy has been life-changing. Always making time for the things that I love. Do I love to binge watch lots of TV and put myself in other worlds and read books, fantasy books in particular? Yes, I do. And I always make time to do that because I love being able to explore all of these different worlds and be able to consume that sort of art. And so that's, to me, is like my happy place where I can just go and like be entertained, I guess. Exercise. I haven't got quite to the place where I love the exercise, but I love the feeling I get after exercise. What I do love from start to finish is yoga.
Okay.
It's so good for my mind.
You go
as well as my body. I do at-home yoga. I have an app that I subscribe to, but I go out to the gym. And so being able to do that is so good. I think my faith, the more I connected I feel to God, oh my gosh, the better I feel. It's just like, again, because I put so much pressure on myself to derive value from being this advocate, having people like look up to me, having people feel like I've changed their life in some way. And I get scared, like, oh my God, if I'm not doing this, what am I doing? Am I just worthless? Am I just valueless? And being able to understand that, no, like I am worthy because I'm created in God's image.
Fantastic.
Is something that is an anchor for me when I'm constantly putting myself out there to be judged and to be validated. And ultimately also like, this is my career as well. Like advocacy is a big part of my career.
Yeah.
And so it's really important that I have those boundaries in place and I do things and remember like who I am, why I'm doing what I'm doing. And that if everything got taken away, I would still be loved. I would still be me.
Fantastic. You will still be loud and you still be you. If you're listening to this is still the Shelf Conversation podcast, and today our guest is Louise. So Louise, our next point of conversation right now, we've actually talked about you being a grassroots advocate and also being in the boardroom. So let's talk about how systems themselves can either support or stifle us and our sense of belonging. So coming on to this podcast, I did a research and McKinsey in 2023 said that companies with strong ethnic and gender diversity are 36% more likely to outperform on profitability, but representation alone doesn't equal belonging. The NHS Workforce Race Equality Standard in 2023 also shared that Black and ethnic minority staff report twice as many instances of discrimination as their Caucasian counterparts. So in terms of your work with organizations like HSBC and Mental Health First Aid England, what's the biggest misconception about diversity and mental health?
one size fits all. People forget about intersectionality, and that is so core to doing this work. Crazy, but not all Black people think the same, and not all Black people need the same support, because there are other parts of their identity that will cause them to have very unique experiences. Like Black women and Black men do not have the same experiences, even within the mental health system, because there's so many different stereotypes and so many different barriers that they're facing, even if there is that, you know, commonality between them. And I also think, I really do think it boils down to this idea that, oh, well, you're trying to help women, so you've done it. You've solved the problem now because you've got a program for women. But it's like, well, what about everyone else?
It's true.
You know, actually, the funny thing is, like, my first freelance role out of uni is with an organization called Beyond Quality, and their specific focus was on men and boys, particularly with gender inequality. And helping them to be part of the narrative. And that really interested me because I have 3 brothers. I don't have any sisters. And I adore my brothers. And I see that they have, being Black men, they have different problems to me. And I want to, you know, open up that space because, you know, we know, 75% of deaths caused by suicide are men. And it's the biggest killer of men under the age of 50.
You're right.
And we don't talk about that enough. Not at all. And we need to also create cultures where men feel like they should be part of the conversation. And they feel comfortable to do that. And, you know, that can be left out when you're just trying to go for protected characteristics. You don't forget that in this specific situation, men are suffering. And so when you're not looking at things from an intersectional lens, you're going to miss that kind of stuff.
And it's something I've raised in a conversation before, and all the time when it comes to men's conversation, always I tell people that I'm actually pro-woman, pro-men, pro-young people. I want every single person's voice to be heard. And people tend to actually look at it this way. You made mention of 75% of suicide across the world are actually men, right? Always, I ask people that we've seen this figure. What does it speak to other people? But when I'm talking about men's mental health all the time, I invite women in the room as well. The reason why I invite women in the room as well is I tell them that if women do not understand where men are coming from and men do not understand where women are coming from, we're not going to actually find a solution. Because if it's in a room of we solving problems about men and it's only men over there, how are women going to actually understand them, for them to be able to know that, oh, if my man is feeling this way, this is where I need to actually go to actually seek for help for him. Or if my man is actually angry, I need to actually find ways and means of, you know, driving what is really causing it out of him, rather than making him feel like he's helpless and making it worse. So all the time, whenever it comes to men's mental health and I'm sharing all these kind of posts, I share it out of a place of sincerity that I want every single female on my platform to at least take a read of this. That might be showing in your man that you have ignored. You may think he's acting too much. And the society has actually created it that way, in a certain way, that men's needs are often ignored because men are strong. But I was like, so when you hear about a man taking his life, what comes into your mind? You saw him being strong, right? But no, he wasn't. Outside, physique-wise, you saw that he's got a muscle, hence he's strong. But do you know that his emotions is carrying him more than his physical features? So I'm so happy that you made reference to your brothers, and I'm happy, and I hope that they are proud of what you're actually doing by thinking about them, because right now, I believe more women and more girls are starting to be more vested in how men's mental health is being perceived as well. And what does psychological safety look like beyond the slogans or the token gestures?
You know what it really means like to me, really right now? Being able to disagree respectfully. Being able to tolerate people being different to you. And I use the word tolerate because that is where we actually need to get to. Because I'll accept, love. No, we're not there. People are actually like at hatred levels in spaces where they're going to be every single day. I do this work and I see people who are just like disgusted by other people that they see online or that they see in their school, they see in their workplace. And I'm thinking, you don't even know them. You seem like one thing that they've said, or they have, they might come from a different religious background to you, or again, a different ethnic background, all of these things, and you're making all these assumptions based off one thing that you might know about them. But again, we need to love our neighbour no matter where they come from, no matter what they think.
As the Bible says.
And so I really think to have a psychologically safe space, you need to be okay with someone saying something that might offend you. And you need to be okay with accepting that they might have a different belief to you, but that you can all coexist and you can all still do whatever the purpose is to do together, whether it's you're in the same class, so you need to finish the years together.
Yeah.
Whether it's you're in the same team at work, so you need to finish this project together.
Yeah.
Whether it's in your family and you need to be a family together and you need to be able to support each other. And so I really think people need to do that, because I think we've also got into a space in time where everything was so much about love and acceptance that now people feel scared to speak up if they feel like they're going to say something wrong.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not everyday perfection. It's not every day you need to know the right exact terminology for everything. It's like, we're all still learning. And I think this is what advocates, speakers, facilitators need to get better at, like owning your own mistakes.
Yeah.
Especially when I'm in classrooms, I always relate to the young people. And even in workplaces as well, I just relate by saying like, I used to think this, or I still think this, or I still get this wrong. I am you as much as you are me. I'm not perfect. Like, we're here to learn together. And like being able to model that, I think, allows people to feel more comfortable and just like, oh my God, I'm not going to get told off in this space. The space is about me being able to express and be able to learn from other people's perspectives. And every time I go into a room, I'm like, I'm not here to change your mind.
Yep.
I'm here to help you see another perspective.
Exactly.
And that may or may not support you, but you need to be able to hear it at least.
And you're right, because I think it's high time that a lot of people, because I wasn't in that kind of space, but right now I'm in a space that when people have got different ideologies that are not the same as I hold, I'm open to hear from them.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I'm going to accept it, but I want to hear why you think that way, because as a society, that is how we are able to model the society together. So when I'm about to say something, I know that in this space, I can say that, because when I say that in that particular space, that would actually end up put me in a very serious trouble. That doesn't mean that my voice is being taken. That just means I know what to say at every single time. But if you don't open yourself to be able to hear what other people have got to say about certain situation, you may think you've got it all right. And I love those kind of conversations. Right now, whenever I'm in the space and I've got one of my friends and at work who always want to play the devil's advocate.
Yeah.
You'll be like,
devil's advocate.
You'll be like, oh, Kwame, I understand where you're coming from, but have you thought about it? But he knows it, that it's not right, but he's trying to open my horizon for me to start thinking that, maybe the person that you may think is lying, he might not be lying.
Yeah.
He might be saying something to protect himself.
Yeah.
But he knows it, at that particular point, the person lied. But he's trying to open my mind that before I jump into conclusion, I have to have actually taken different factors that I have not actually opened my eyes to, that I have been short-sighted about, to be able to adapt and form a good judgment over a situation. And I love it. Because it helps me not to become very hasty in drawing conclusions about stuff, and be able to adapt, and it helps with my judgment, in all fairness, it helps with my judgment. And how do we move from being just performative inclusion cultures of belonging to that of actually change how people feel at work?
again, it's the difficult conversation. It's the policy changes based off what your employees need. It's all well and good being like, oh, well, we had this talk about how, I don't know, like the maternity leave isn't good enough or parents aren't taken care of in this organization. And that we should do this and this and this. And then it comes time when a parent needs some support and they're like, well, that's just not within our remit. It's like, what was the point of having that conversation if practically speaking my life isn't changing or it cannot happen? It's like you know what I use as an example, it's like the 4-day work week or those companies who do unlimited holidays.
Yes.
It's like, okay, but like if your employees don't feel comfortable enough to actually take the holiday because they think it's some sort of trap or they feel like their job could be at stake, like you need to think, is this actually really working, or like what's actually going on here?
You don't feel comfortable. It's like you're working on a thin ice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or the 4-day work week, it's like, yeah, but how do you make sure that people aren't doing 5 days?
Yeah.
Because they feel like, oh my God, well,
I need to do extra.
Exactly. Exactly. And so I think it's really important that like you have the conversation and then policy can actually be changed based off that, but also more importantly, culture as well. Like especially what's really, really, really important in the workplace particularly is senior leaders being on board with these things and again, practicing what they preach. Like, because if you're having a conversation and you're like, oh, you've got these policies in place, but the senior leaders are never following them because they're just on their own little world, that's a bit disjointed, isn't it? You need to lead by example.
Yeah. You're so right. And that actually leads us to the idea of bridging generations by bringing us perfectly to the next part, whereby how young people are rewriting the rules of success and well-being. So this segment is basically, we are just concentrating on the next generation, the hope, the healing, and the redefining of success that we need to do. And I love statistics, honestly speaking, because it helps to bring the idea of the work that other people have done. And it brings some context to the conversation that we do have. So in 2024, the Princess Trust Youth Index actually stated that over 60% of young people say social media and career pressure have negatively impacted their well-being. Forbes also said that in 2023 that 84% of Gen Z say mental health is as important as physical health. Yeah. So in terms of redefining success, how should this generation and beyond redefine success by balancing burnout and regular lifestyle?
Remembering that you're on your own path. You don't need to be following what other people are doing. Like, remember what's right for you and challenge the status quo. Like every single generation, like they've got a different challenge to face.
Exactly.
We've, got particular challenges to face, whether it's like challenging the idea that you need to be in office every single day in order to get your work done, obviously depending on what you do, and the idea that you can work from home and you can still be as productive, or that you can work in different ways, even, just thinking about neurodivergent people, and the conversation is getting bigger and more normalized about like how people work differently, whether they like are good with video calls or they need to do like voice calls, or exactly, because they don't like emailing that much, or they want to see each other in person. And like looking at that accessibility as well, I think is really important. And just being able to understand that like you're not a product. And I think school teaches you that from early. It's like your exam results define you. You work like a robot in order to like achieve this result. And then you go into your university and it's the same thing. And then you go to your 9 to 5 and you're just a product to an organization. No, like you're a holistic human being. Like organizations need to remember that we should be human first. And I think Gen Z are really understanding that, because we're not doing some AI AI take over the world and we're just the same as AI. Like, no, what sets us apart is that we're human and we're not objects, we're not products. We have so many different things about us. And we're not just who we are when we're at work. We're sisters, we're brothers, we're parents, we're daughters, we're siblings, we're
children.
Yeah, children, partners, whatever you want to call it. Like, we've got so many different facets to us.
Exactly.
We're friends. Like,
exactly.
And so we always need to acknowledge that you can't water all of those parts of your life if you're just focusing on one. So be holistic in your living. And that's something that my partner is like really good at telling me and really like ensuring that that's how we're going to be in our lives. Like, and I think I've really struggled with this culture war thing of like, oh, you know, I want to get married, I want to have kids, but I also have my own business and I want that to succeed. And it's like, oh my God, am I going to have to like neglect my kids in order to be this like boss bitch? Or am I going to have to like stop working so I can? And it's just like, no, Louise, you can like maybe not do everything all at once, but you can prioritize at different stages and you can still be successful. And like, again, your success is going to be defined by like you, and you can set your own goals and you can, as my therapist would say, like baby steps, like what are the steps you need to take in order to get here? And it's, you know, the more you grow, the more developed you are, the more you realize how far you need to go, the more growth needs to be done.
And some of them might be even interlinked.
Exactly.
For example, I used to actually think, because I've got a writing project that has actually been there for a longer period of time. But before I jumped on the idea of a podcast was not even in place. But I asked myself that you want to actually do a writing project. And some of these, if you're doing it independently, people need to know you and know about their story and they can relate to it, else you're going to struggle. So I said to myself, then why don't I pause on it, start this podcast, have the intent, run with it. So the idea of would they work or not would actually help me to be able to use this podcast to experiment, to get to know people, get to hear stories, get to even refine myself. So when people hear that I've got this writing project, they're going to jump on it. So I have to actually do that because I used to be very, 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 very terrified that people don't know you, but because God has actually told you to actually do this writing project, do you want to actually do it? So I used to think that, I know that social media can help, but beyond social media, what else can be done? So you're so right. We can actually take the baby steps, and how we prioritize on each stage of our life can, get the shape of, like, it brings the shape of the final goal of what we actually want to actually do. So you're so right. So in terms of storytelling, what role has it got to play in dismantling stigma and healing collectively trauma?
Yeah. Being vulnerable is so important. Whenever I do a talk, I always start with my own personal journey, because then the audience are really able to connect to me, and then they're more likely to listen to the statistics I talk about or the general like culture that I'm speaking about, and the different solutions that I'm trying to give. And people always follow what they can actually relate to. And I think it's about being really honest. And because what we have now is, again, a problem where people just want to show their best selves all the time. And then people feel alienated from that, because it's like, I'm struggling. Like, I had a really horrible time where I just sat in bed all day and I cried, but you look like you're having the time of your life every single day. And I just want people to know that it's not true. And for people to feel comfortable in order to share their story, and that every single person's story is important. And I truly believe that. When I meet people, I don't have surface level conversations. I get to know who they are. I get to know why they are the way they are. And storytelling can be done to audiences. It can be done to a classroom. It could be done to one person. And people will take different parts of your story and use that to either help themselves or to help other people. The amount of times you won't even realize that someone's having a conversation about something that you've said, because it resonated with them, and it's because you were authentic and you were honest.
Fantastic. And if you're still listening or you're watching this is still the Sharp Conversation podcast, and I'm here with Louise. So Louise, I know you're a very big advocate of mental health. You are also a very big change maker. And this question, I don't know how you're going to take it, but if you had one chance of changing something about mental health, how it's been discussed, how it's been taught in a workplace or school, what would it be?
Ooh. That was a good question.
I'll put you on the spot.
Yeah. I think I want the conversation to be about the idea that mental health is for everyone. Like, again, it's not just for the 1 or 2 employees that have, diagnosed mental health conditions. Like, and everyone will experience a really, really low point in their life. Like, let's just get one thing. Like, and actually, I think grief is one of that conversation. I lost my auntie, in July, and the grief that I went through, and like, I just stopped caring about things. I was like, who cares about this? Like, someone just died. Like, I don't, like, nothing else matters. And workplace is terrible at those conversations. In fact, they won't even let you go. They won't even let you off. They're just like, oh, surely, like, you just lost someone who was like really close to you and like fundamental to your life, but like, it's fine. Like, whatever, come back to work in 2 weeks or whatever it is. So these policies need to change, but also, it's the same within like schools as well. I think people are really uncomfortable with grief, but everyone will experience it at some point. So you've got to remember, like, even if you're on top of the world one day, and you're like, oh, mental health doesn't matter to me, and so therefore it doesn't matter to my organization or the space that I'm in, like, at some point you will experience that. And so you need to put things in place that will mean that when you do and when other people do, they are supported.
Fantastic. And we have actually had an in-depth conversation about systems, about yourself, about the work that you do. Let's close this with a reflection of you and what it means to keep your voice, your values, and your hope. So what's that one conversation that has actually changed you as a young lady, Louise?
You know what? I think what you said about values, like, I've had conversations about like character and how like maintaining your character no matter what space you're in is so important. And I think I've really understood that now. I'm at a point in time where I'm like, my character is everything. I shouldn't change my values based off what space I'm in, based off like trying to get money, trying to work with an organization who has terrible values just so that I can make money off them. And so I really think that like your values are everything, and you should always be able to put yourself in spaces where you can hold on to your values. That's something that I've definitely learned from my partner. He's like, his character is so strong. He knows who he is. He knows what he stands for, and he does not believe in compromising that. And I think when you work for yourself, that can be really hard because, like, if you're not getting clients, you're not making any money.
Yeah.
And so people are constantly compromising their values in entrepreneurship, especially. So I think that's one of the biggest things I've learned over the past few years, just to hold on to my values, and God will still reward me.
Fantastic. God will always still reward you. And getting closer to the end of this conversation, how can the audience listening to this conversation, how can they create safer spaces for mental health conversations to be had, be it an employee, be it an employer, be it a student? How can they actually do that? Some people have always said that they find it very difficult and is kind of nerve-wracking to actually end up starting these kind of conversations.
I think if you're trying to get someone else to open up, model that is always good. Be vulnerable with something. And it doesn't have to be like your deepest, darkest secret. It can just be something small, and that might, cause them to open up. And I think if you're trying to open up to someone about your own mental health struggles, I think start with someone that you really, really trust. Because if you are in a school, you are in a workplace, there's going to be someone, there's going to be a friend that you really trust. There's going to be, a colleague that you're like, oh, okay, this person I could tell. And they can pass on that information for you.
Yeah.
Like when I'm in schools and I'm doing safeguarding, it's like, the student's like, oh, I don't want to speak. And I'm like, I'm going to pass it on for you. And if you want me to, I can find a specific teacher who can actually talk to you about that thing that you're struggling with. So finding people who are safe first and foremost to then help you have that conversation, because people often feel like, oh my God, I'm alone in this. But it's like, no, you can find someone to share the burden.
It's true. Fantastic. And we cannot actually leave this conversation and ask what is next for you and Synkora. What should we expect next? Secret.
Some secret project.
I'm asking this so that I can actually, whoever is listening, if they can actually support you and they'll be able to actually step in.
Okay, so we are gonna probably be launching some sort of research. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna have to mobilize young people and get that insight. So stay tuned to whatever that is, because we want to be able to get that data so we can make the change with the organization so that you're benefited in the first place.
And where can the audience actually find you on social media?
You can go to my LinkedIn, that's Louise Lyons-Appiah, Instagram, Louise Lyons _ yeah, that's basically, those are the two platforms that I use. But LinkedIn is like my bread and butter. I love that platform. Yeah. You'll see me there every week.
Every single. If you truly want to contact Louise, please use LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I've experienced there and I can actually testify to it. And that actually brings to the end of our conversation. But there's one thing that I want us to I will leave as all of us with, is that belonging isn't just being included. It's about being cared for. And as Louise actually explicitly said and reminded us of, that care can be the most radical act of all. Thank you very much for listening or watching us on our various streaming platforms. And same time, another time, can't wait for you to actually join us in our next episode. And I hope that you did enjoy this episode. And if you did, please don't keep it to yourself. Share it on the various social media platforms. Make noise about it. Let people get to know about this content. And remember, leave any questions or any queries that you do have or any suggestions that you would like to make within the comment section. Thank you very much and have a great day. Bye.